Welcome to the Regen X motor and Regen X generator coil IP presentation. In this presentation, I'm going to be going over basically the unified concentric Regen X motor and generator coil and CPU. That is essentially the culmination of the Regen X generator and motor coil innovations into a single tri-coil, which has 8 salient functions, or 8 individual functions. So essentially the Regen X generator coil is a generator coil that generates electric output power, but it also produces mechanical output power in the form of system acceleration or positive work. Conventional generator coils, on the other hand, output electric output power, and they also output mechanical power as well in the form of negative work, and which produces system deceleration. So in this video, we are looking at the next IP iteration, which includes conventional coil, Regen X coil, and quantum motor coil, into a single coil with at least 8 different functions. So here we have, this is a commercially manufactured Regen X coil. It's wound on a core, a Met class core, and this particular coil is good for at least 66 amps of current. So what we want to embody in our next IP, and I should also add that a motor that uses Regen X coils, the Regen X generator coil, Regen X motor generator coil, is it's a salient pole motor coil, meaning that the motor is made up of a plurality of motor generator coils, and rather than a squirrel cage wound motor coil design. So the concentric Regen X motor generator coil starts with a core in the middle, and the first coil, so what I'm going to do is introduce the various coils and then explain their functions down below. So the first coil that's wound on the core is a conventional motor coil, and it has a DC resistance of about 0.1 ohms. Now, this coil provides us with system acceleration, motor action, and system deceleration, generator action, EV regenerative braking. So the CPU will dictate, based on the driver input and road conditions, what function the tri-coil what function the CPU chooses. So if the driver is requesting maximum acceleration from the electric vehicle, for example, the 0.1 ohm motor coil will be used, where electric input is fed into the coil and mechanical output is produced. Once the electric vehicle gets up to cruising speed, if the motor has 100 coils in it, the CPU will decide, based on driver input and road conditions, etc., how many coils can be converted from motor coil operation to regenerative acceleration motor coil operation. So the second coil that's wound on top of the motor coil is the Regen X coil, and I should add that the 0.1 ohm coil also provides maximum regenerative braking. So on top of the 0.1 ohm coil is the Regen X coil, and it, in this configuration, would have a DC resistance of 0.3 ohms. So the Regen X coil can provide system acceleration in motor mode, and it can also provide system acceleration in quantum motor mode, which I'll get to down here, and it can provide system acceleration in Regen X generator mode, or EV regenerative acceleration. When we, in our electric vehicle, when our EV goes into regenerative acceleration, that means that the batteries are recharged in the EV, and the EV is accelerated rather than decelerated when the batteries are being charged. And the Regen X coil, the green coil, also provides system deceleration in generator mode when it's operated below the critical minimum frequency for the coil. On top of the Regen X coil is the Regen X quantum motor coil, and it has a DC resistance of approximately 0.4 ohms, and it provides system acceleration without requiring any electric input power. It also provides fluxed harvesting, and fluxed harvesting is where the discharging magnetic field from one Regen X coil is collected in the core of an adjacent Regen X coil, such that the output of the Regen X generator coils on each side is increased. So the Regen X quantum motor coil provides acceleration, flux harvesting, and it also provides system deceleration at very low RPM. So the conventional coil, once again, receives electric input from the EV's battery, and it also provides power in regenerative braking mode back to the battery. And the Regen X coil, the green coil, provides electric battery recharge back to the battery and mechanical power in the form of vehicle acceleration. And it also provides vehicle deceleration when the coil is operated below the frequency of the coil, critical minimum frequency of the coil. And the Regen X quantum motor only provides mechanical output power, and it doesn't require any electric input power when it's providing mechanical output power. So in summary, the Regen X generator coil intellectual property, which has a US patent on it, is electric power generation with zero mechanical input power requirements. The Regen X motor IP provides mechanical output power and electric output power, and the Regen X quantum motor provides mechanical output power without requiring any electric input power. So in the PowerPoint or the document that I'll send with this private video, I will include the patent numbers and a further description of what the technologies do. And so the intellectual property that we want to patent is the combination of the three coils and also the CPU, which governs their function. And again, the CPU is dictated by the driver input. So this configuration is geared towards electric vehicles, but it can also apply in hybrid vehicles, in internal combustion vehicles, and it can also apply in electric power generation. The only difference would be that the conventional coil would only operate as a regenerative braking coil, so it wouldn't operate as a motor coil. And that's it. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Cheers for now.